Alright, so I'm riding with my friend Phil, and he was wrongfully convicted of a murder that took place in 1994, and he was fighting a case in 95 and took his time in 96. So he's going to tell you a little bit about his story today, and hopefully we can get further into it.
I tried to fight the case by myself in the courts, but nobody would ever give me any credit for anything I said. And it said right there on the documents and everything that the judge would look at it in the same light or better light than he did a lawyer or an attorney or law firm, because I can't remember the exact word, but anyway, my judge's name was Amy Bertani. That's her name she was going by. And later on, I ordered some transcripts from the appellate court, cost me like $12. And I noticed on the front sheet it said Amy Bertani-Tomzak. So when I looked at it, I'm like, what does this mean? So I thought, who do I talk to? So my buddy goes, well, I used to be a law clerk, and I was a really good one at Dixon. He said, I would write the ARDC, Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission. So I wrote them, and they wrote him, and he said, oh, it was Amy Bertani-Tomzak. So they said, if it presented any conflict, he would immediately recuse. She would have immediately recused herself, and the matter would be resigned. The thing is also, though, she oversees the public defender's office. Not is that a major conflict of interest, but she oversees the public defender's office, and I was being represented by a public defender. So there was a simple.
So what year did you figure out that you had to do all that extra stuff?
In 2009 or 10 or 11, something like that. 11, I think it was. 2011.
So more than a decade.
Yep. They wouldn't let me go to school, college or anything. They wouldn't let me take any classes or anything because I wasn't working towards my it's not a diploma, it's a
GED?
Yeah, GED. I wasn't working towards my GED, so I was in maximum security where you stay in your cell all day long unless you go to the yard, the gym, a doctor's appointment, a medical visit, or you're going to church on Sunday, or you're going to chow, which is a meal.
So they left you on 23 hours?
So here's another instance of something that happened that was really bad. In 1999, I got a reversal remand. That means I get a new trial. And I don't know if I knew enough at the time to help myself because I know public defender's office wasn't going to help me. So, here's one thing first. The judge, Dana Rozak, said I was no more culpable or responsible for the crime than my co-defendant, my rappy, Robert Murphy. So it's co-defendant / so you mean both things at the same time. So 2 in 1. All right, so what happened is it went to the appellate court, and the appellate court agreed I get a new trial. And it went to keep in mind, that was the initial brief and that document and everything. Everything was done at that time when the court made its first decision. So it got challenged by the state to the Illinois Supreme Court. So I went there, they looked at it, and they said, have the appellate court justices look at it in light of People versus Mitchell. So they're trying to look at it, people not submit more briefs or documents into the case. So as soon as it went back to the appellate court, Jeff Tomzak had been elected state's attorney on the 1st of December, and Amy Bertani never recused herself from my case on the record. It has to be in my transcripts. And it was just summarily reassigned like 9 months later. But they never said anything about, it says if there's a gist of a reason why it would cause a conflict of interest, then they have to recuse themselves.
Get a retrial. Yeah.
And she didn't. And the whole time I was being defended by the public defender's office. And they knew who Jeff was. And they probably knew who she was, his wife. And it wasn't his first time being elected the state's attorney of Will County, the head state's attorney, not an assistant state's attorney who goes in the courtroom, but him. Everybody talks to him before they go to court. He rehearses things with them, he teaches them things, and he wants them to take care of business when they're in there. Right?
Correct. So they told you that you and your co-defendant hold the exact same weight for the crime, for the murder that was committed.
Right.
But your co-defendant, your rapper, got way less time.
Right.
So how much time did your...
If I was no more culpable responsible for the crime than him, and we both got the same amount of time, 50 years at 50%, he got his lowered in 2004 to 27 years. It didn't lower mine then. That's okay with me. But in 2007, early in the year, I don't know what month exactly right now. I don't think I ever did. But in 2007, he got it reduced to 23 years, and he spent 11 and a half years in IDOC, and he got released in 2007.
Right.
I should have been released at the same time.
Right.
That's the thing. The lower my said 27 really doesn't matter a lot, but the release date matters a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another thing. That's one case. That's a wrongful malicious prosecution because of the way they did it. And Amy initially gave me 70 years at 50%. And I had to get reduced myself.
To 50 years.
To 50 years. I had to write up the documents and send them in and everything, get my case lowered to that 50 years. So at 50%. Because he said I was no more responsible, culpable for the crime. So somebody wasn't doing their research, and the public defender's office didn't care. The judge's office and the state attorney's office is the one that's really responsible for the whole thing. Not only do they do cases in the appellate court, but they're involved highly. They have a separate office in the Will County Courthouse, in any courthouse, and they help work on the appeal against you, blocking you from doing things.
So tell me...
So conflict of interest was serious, all the way from 99 when I got it, and then I had to wait almost a year before for the Illinois Supreme Court to make their decision.
And they said even if it's just the gist of conflict of interest.
Right. And if you're what's it called? If you're protecting yourself and you're writing up your own motion brief petitions in the courts, and you make a statement about something and you're not exactly on the ball, on the point of the ball. So the judge has to look at it in a gist. If you have a gist of an idea in your statement or in your request to the court, he has to look at it in its strongest light possible. And everybody knows what that means, right? Yeah, they would, right?
Yeah. Okay, so tell me some of the things, because you got locked up in 1994.
Yep.
They gave you 70...
95. My case happened in 94.
Right, the murder happened in 1994.
And they went over the, they said I made a video statement, but they went over the statement with me for an hour and a half. My lawyer told me, go along with them, we're going to get you the least amount of time as possible. So we already separated your case from your co-defendant.
So the public defender let you get coerced.
Yeah. He told me to do... They went over the statement, telling me how to make movement, what words to say. Basically, they made the story up compared to what evidence they had, which was no physical evidence at all. None. Not one drop of physical evidence. Anything. No fingerprints, no oil, no nothing. No DNA, nothing.
So they locked you up in 1995.
Right.
You went to Will County, correct?
Right.
Tell me some of the things that happened.
It was Detective Knight, and I'm not sure what the other guy's name was, because this is so long ago, but it was Detective Knight. Oh, yeah. And I was punched in the back of the head in IDOC, and now I have seizures.
And that's when you were in prison. Was that in...
Yeah, and then the nurses said that...
Where prison was that in?
Dixie Christian. I was in STC Special Treatment Center because I helped free 11 guys in 1 year at Lawrence, by sitting down with the straight edge with, was a piece of laminate, the plastic goes over on the countertop when they're cheap.
Yeah.
And a pen, a writing pen like a Bic, clear plastic, cheap ones. And but they're good lasting pens if you get the right ones. So anyway,
you corrected all their paperwork.
I would do what was in my mind or what I could think of. So I'd write the whole thing up. I'd write the top part they had to put in what court it's in and everything. You got to have it correctly written out, and then you got to go over here and you got to put your name and you got to put stuff. You got to put verses. The state attorney's office, whoever it is that's elected state attorney. and then you got to go on the other side and you put the case number down and you put, Judge and Daniel Rozak or Amy Patani Tomzak or whatever. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't want to write Amy Patani Tomzak and, tell the whole courthouse and then nobody do anything about it. If it affected my case to conflict of interest, I wonder how many other cases did it affect?
A many. So tell me about...
How many cases did the judge see a day in felony court?
Millions. A lot.
Yeah, 20, 30 cases. So how many cases does that conflict of interest reflect? Because it's a subliminal message that it states to the public defender's office and any public representative representing you or anybody else. They decided they're going to hire you specifically for a job, not just because you're in the courtroom, because that would be too obvious.
So tell me, how did you end up getting hit in the head? Was it a CO? Do you think a CO put another?
I have been attacked by COs before. When I was in a strip cell.
And do you think that was because you got those 11 inmates released?
Oh yeah, if you suffer an injury or not, and you are observed, and you show that you're having mental illness problems, they will take you and put you in seg in a strip cell with nothing, no mattress, no blanket, no clothes, nothing. You have nothing, toothbrush, water. You drink from the sink if they don't turn it off on you. And they did that for almost 28 days to me one time. So that's what's cruel and unusual punishment, right?
Yeah, and that was in Dixon?
Yeah, it happened so many times. It was so bad in there that I actually tried to kill myself like 7 or 8 times. And 6 of the 7 times, they had to haul me out of there on a gurney and put me in an ambulance and take me to the hospital. And one time in Stateville, I cut myself up with the light switch and I ripped out the wall, while the screws and the electricity was still to it. Mm-hmm. I was so amped up and everything, and I wanted to die so bad. And it was the beginning of my bid. And she gave me extended term because murder only carries 20 to 60. But she gave me extended term, so it means the crime is heinous. So if you're sentenced to extended term before you're sentenced, you have to be able to face your accusers, right?
Yeah.
So your accuser would be whatever element, the special element that she presents to the jury before they go into deliberation, not just say, oh, well, I think this crime's bad enough now. I'm not going to ask him to represent anybody. I'm not going to ask anybody to ask him any questions. I'm not going to ask him if he wants to take a stand. I'm not going to ask the jury anything. I'm just going to give him, 70 years instead of 60. It's, the most you can give me. And it was a conflict of interest. She may have had something against me. My girlfriend used to date her husband while she was married to him. And because he was popping her pills, in the bar she was at. Yeah. She was actually with somebody else. And he burnt down his own mom and dad's bowling alley, Galaxy Bowling Lanes off Theodore and Plainfield and Shorewood, right? Plainfield and Crest Hill, Joliet and Crest Hill right there. These are all towns that are close by.
Like Theodore and all that.
Yeah, and I'm mentally ill now, and my I guess they're kind of like dampers, and they send electricity in your head. Mm-hmm. And because I was hit so hard, now I have seizures. I'm pretty messed up. I jumped to the subject topic. Well, I'm staying on the same topic, my case, but the problem is I don't think like you do. I think you know what I know, and you may not. Right?
Yep, and that's all because somebody attacked you in your cell, right?
Right.
And what
year
was
my phone
that?
number. Hang on. My phone. Okay, let me give you my phone number. I can remember everybody else's number, but I can't remember my own.
You don't got to give out your number right now.
How do we have them contact us if we find a lawyer? I want to help you out too. Remember?
If they leave comments, then we'll have all their information. Okay. If they leave a comment or a message, then I'll get it to you. Because I don't want you to put your number here and then the wrong people call.
Okay, you're going to need to look at this and put this on your phone.
Alright. Yeah,
and put your number in this.
Yeah, I got your number from the thing. Well, okay. I could get it from the thing.
I don't know how to work all these things. I'm trying to remember every time I do.
Alright, today that was just a quick gist of what's been going on in my guy Philip's life for the past couple decades.
They keep coming up with this idea. This is part of the dance for help.
So hopefully you'll hear from us soon, and we'll see you later.